everybody. I'm Jamie Kale Miller of Pandora Astrology, and with me is.
Hey guys, it's Julia Mijas, also a Pandora.
And today we want to tell you about the present Juno retrograde period that's going on. Now, Juno actually goes retrograde every year, spends about 16 weeks going retrograde. And while it is retrograde, a lot of themes are going to come up about our committed relationships. This is because Juno is the asteroid goddess of marriage, commitment, and contractual relationships of all kinds, including business partnerships, which if you've ever been in a business partnership, you probably know it feels an awful lot like a marriage. So this year's relationship retrospection period is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. And I want to show you the timing of it, and we're going to talk about how it feels and how to handle it. So it begins on April 12th. I'm going to need some glasses for this. It begins on April 12th, and here you can see that Juno begins at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. And then it finishes, a long time later, weeks later, on August 2nd. Let's find that. It is. Yep, there's Juno. It's still retrograde on the 1st, on the 2nd, and later in the day. And by the 3rd, it has turned direct. I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to show you some more about the timing of this. But before I do, I just want to kind of brainstorm with you, Julia, about, what does this mean? How does this feel when Juno is retrograde, most particularly in Sagittarius?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, well, retrograde in general, maybe people who are listening have heard of Mercury retrograde, because that's a pretty big buzzword, because Mercury does it 3 times a year, which is faster than any other planet. But so what retrograde does technically mean is that from our perspective on Earth, a planet or an asteroid appears to be moving backwards in the sky. And obviously it's not an actual physical phenomenon because everybody in our solar system is moving forward at all times. But it's an optical illusion, but it's a very significant one to astrologers. And during retrograde cycles, they usually call us to sort of review or redo something that has to do with the theme of the planet or asteroid that is going retrograde. So, with Juno, which is known as the marriage asteroid, which is known as the asteroid that rules all partnerships. So you don't have to be married or even in a relationship to have this be a significant time for you if you have business partnerships or other very close partnerships in your life. But we might all be taking stock of those right now. Maybe seeing how that partnership, especially, and we can unpeel another layer here with the Sagittarius, the sign that it's in, other themes, but this is going to be a general time of taking stock of the partnerships in your life, and maybe seeing how, and basically seeing how they could potentially serve you better.
Yeah, it seems to me that Sagittarius is going to be setting the tone or the standard for how exactly we're taking stock of our relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe asking ourselves questions like, does this relationship allow me room to grow and expand? If I feel like I'm growing and expanding, can this relationship hold me, or am I going to burst its seams? Is my partner growing, or are they stagnating? And how does that feel to me to be living with a partner who's stagnating or growing? Is the growing threatening to me, or can I expand also? Does that actually give me more room in some way? And also, like, what does this relationship mean to me? Or maybe just in the world at large,
Yeah.
What's the deeper meaning behind this relationship? And is it serving that meaning?
Yeah. The Sagittarius, because again, it's ruled by Jupiter, that very expansive planet. When people usually have Juno and Sagittarius within their own natal chart, it means that they want to have some kind of shared, commitment or partnership where they do always feel like they're expanding. I always say to my clients who have it, try to find a partner who you can have shared adventures with, not someone who's like, I don't feel like leaving the couch or traveling anywhere new or we don't need to do anything new. you know, that would be a bit stifling with somebody who has Juno and Sagittarius. And Sagittarius also, you know, traditionally it is the sign of law. So this might be a time of also reviewing legal contracts that are involved in partnership. Like, oh, should I get a prenup? Should we renegotiate the prenup? Do I need to talk with my business partner about our employment contracts? Those could be on a more mundane level, you know, possible areas that this retrograde cycle may bring up.
Yeah, I think that it could very well draw on Jupiter's emphasis on ethics and morals.
Yes.
You know, you may be asking yourself, is my partner ethical in the ways that, you know, that I can really relate to? And does this relationship serve ethics and morals that we share? I could see that being a really big theme. And there was something you said a minute ago, Julia, when you were talking about the nature of retrograde motion that I thought was really well put. When you said that, you know, we know that the planets move forward all the time, but that retrograde motion, you know, it's meaningful for astrologers. And I just wanted to say a little bit more about it because I think that people in the science community, most particularly astrologers, astronomers, tend to think that astrologers don't know that retrogradation is a visual illusion.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know that. However, it is measurable motion. And the thing about astrology is that if it's measurable, then you can measure it, and then you can log its correlations in the actual world, as we say in metaphysics, as above, so below. And if
Exactly.
you can make that correlation, then you can build a body of knowledge. And
Yes.
that's what astrology has done.
Yeah. No, I think astrology, it's all about what is going up in the sky that might be reflecting what is happening inside of me or even what's happening around me. It's a reflective correlation. It's not causal. We're not saying that because a planet is moving backwards, it is causally directly affecting our lives. But there are reflective correlations, and really reviewing those correlations are if it's just to give you better insights. That's all.
Yeah. As Jung said, an acausal connecting principle.
There we go. I like that.
Lightning synchronicity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at the timing of this. Here you can see the cycle of Juno. And am I sharing the right screen, Julia?
You are sharing. Sorry, I had you on the little screen for a moment. Yes, I'm seeing the cycle here.
Good. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell from my perspective. So here we have the motion of Juno this year. And this cycle really begins and ends when Juno conjuncts the sun. So that actually happened last in November of 2020. And so that was the end of the previous year's cycle and the beginning of the current cycle that we're in right now. Back on April 12th is when Juno turned retrograde. It did so in 24 degrees of Sagittarius. As it backs up, it's going to back up all the way to 8 degrees of Sagittarius. And what this means for you personally is that anything that you've got in your chart between 8 and 24 degrees of Sagittarius, Juno is going to cross over it directly. And that piece of your chart, that planet in your chart or point, is probably going to be where you're feeling this the most keenly. Juno will also therefore be squaring or opposing anything you have in that same degree span in the other 3 mutable signs. In the middle of it all, Juno retrograde opposes the sun, and we call this commitment clarity day. And that's happening at 16 degrees of Sagittarius. So if you have anything there, that should be something that you're feeling pretty strongly too. That's coming in, that was in June. June 6th, yes. And then by the time we get through August and September, we get to the end of October, and Juno then therefore returns to the place where it started all of this retrogradation, which is 24 degrees of Sagittarius. And I call this Commitment Resolution Day because this whole retrograde period is all about, you know, looking within, looking at the past, searching your soul for what needs to change in your committed relationships right now, whether they again may be personal or business relationships. And here on Commitment Resolution Day is a day when you may feel like not only have you come to some clarity about what that change needs to be, but you're really ready to to move on and put those understandings, into action. And then Juno comes back into conjunction with the sun all the way forward into January of 2022. And then we'll go retrograde again later in that year. So, gosh, Julia, I think that's all we have to say about Juno right now. Can you think of anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video about Juno's cycle this year, 2021. And if you did, you should probably check out other news videos on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, where you'll find the news of the month organized into playlists. And while you're there, check out your horoscope too. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.